Welcome aboard the Beseto Express. We'll cover 3 countries: Beijing in China, Sei, Seoul in Korea, and Tokyo in Japan. Together we'll explore the culture of Beseto. All aboard the Beseto Express.
Appetite is the first among man's desires. It could even be said that the history of man has changed and developed in order to fully satisfy his palate. Wheat has long been the staple food of the West. Wheat was ground into powder, made into dough, and then baked or fried to develop various dishes. The 3 Beseto countries have rice as their staple food. This is because Korea, China, and Japan are located within the Monsoon climate region, a climate suitable for rice production. Since rice has a high production rate per area, it is a type of grain suitable for areas of high population density. Japan tries to maintain the natural tastes of foods. Rice was once a side dish when eating fish, but with the introduction of vinegar, sushi developed, making rice the main dish on Japanese meal tables today. Korean meals show how different ingredients come together to create new, unique tastes. Let's find out about the unique cultures of rice of the 3 Beseto countries.
Hello and welcome to Beseto Express. The topic of today's show is rice. In the West, the main source of people's diet over there is either wheat or flour. In the East, you have rice. The main reason for this difference is the size of population. For example, in the East, if you were to grow wheat or flour, only 75 people can survive. But if you were to grow rice, 100 people can survive on it. I guess the surrounding environment is a big factor in this difference. Join me on today's show as we learn more about rice and the food cultures of China, Korea, and Japan.
Japan, where more than 3,000 different types of fish swim about. As a golden fishing ground where the cold and warm currents meet, the northern part of Japan is one of the 3 best fishing regions in the world. Seafoods like fish or clams are included in Japanese meals 365 days a year. Since obtaining fresh seafood was easy, the culture of eating food raw has well developed. Naturally, the Japanese people started to enjoy the original taste of the ingredients, and even vegetables, which are used as side dishes, are often left uncooked as well. But like most typical side dishes, like chukemono, they are slightly pickled in vinegar. Red beef is quite rare. So, with vegetables, fish, or beans as the main side dishes, the main food on Japanese tables is rice. When you take a look at a typical Japanese meal, soybean paste soup and grilled fish are always centered around the rice. A Korean meal starts with choosing the rice. The rice is first washed, then it is put in a gamasot, a Korean pot, and cooked with the right amount of water added. When rice is made in a thick pot made of iron, the rice becomes stickier and shinier. The kind of rice best loved by Koreans. Making rice like this is a technique that requires lots of attention. Let's take a look at a typical Korean meal. Like other nations that developed rice cultures, the soups and pickled dishes, kimchis, are a must, and a couple of other side dishes are added. As such, the Korean meal is neat and proper. In China, cultures of staple foods differ along the Yellow River. In regions south of the Yellow River, the staple food is rice, but in the north, it's wheat. Rice is harvested twice a year, but the rice produced here lacks stickiness. However, rice with its many faces still takes the main seat on tables of Chinese meals even today.
This here is what the Koreans call nurungji. It's formed after the rice is slightly overcooked. In Korea, people use this to make a soup, and in China, they fry it up in a pan and serve it with a sauce. Let's go see what other types of rice there are in China, Japan, and Korea.
Rice contains loads of carbohydrates. So, eating only rice resulted in the lack of other nutrients, making the need for substitutes. So in Korea, instead of eating just plain rice, rice was often cooked together with other grains. Dolsotbab includes ginseng, dates, and ginkgo nuts. Kongnamulbab includes bean sprouts and mushrooms. Ogokbab, which is eaten on the full moon, symbolizes the wish for an abundant harvest. And yakshe, which was made with ordinary rice or glutinous rice, is a dish eaten as a type of dessert. The Chinese usually do not enjoy uncooked food. So most Chinese dishes are deep-fried or stir-fried. This is the same for rice. The pretty-looking palbobab, which was made to wish for good fortune on holidays, was a type of dessert using rice. Japtangbap, which is rice made with seafood, is a type of covered rice. In Japan, where the weather is hot, storing rice was a problem. That was why they looked for a way to be able to enjoy the original taste without making the rice go bad. So, the sour and sweet sushi culture spread from Southeast Asia to China and developed in Japan. Originally, the sour taste appeared as the fish fermented after sitting with the rice for 10 days. It wasn't until the modern period when vinegar was produced do we recognize the sushi of today. Sushi is made with fresh seafood, maintaining a pure taste since it is not heated. To the Japanese people who say, a dish that is not cooked is the ideal dish, sushi is the perfect dish of Japan, maintaining natural tastes.
In Korea, it's common and also polite for the host to tell her guests, "It may be a humble table, but please help yourself to plenty." At first, many foreigners think to themselves, why invite someone over if you're not going to prepare a feast, right? But they're really surprised after they look at the full table. This is another difference between the food cultures of the East and the West. Why don't we go learn more about the common etiquettes of the East?
Fried rice is loved by the Chinese people. Cooked rice is eaten in ordinary households, but on special days or when eating out, fried rice is chosen as the main meal. Chinese fried rice is unique in a way that it is cooked fast in a very strong fire. Let's try making the most popular dish, seafood and vegetable fried rice. The first step is to slightly cook the egg. Then you should add in the cooked rice and stir-fry it so that they separate well. This cooking technique of stir-frying or deep-frying in a strong fire is called pao in Chinese. It helps the ingredients keep their original taste, and this is used in most Chinese dishes today. The most important thing in this step is to work your hands fast to fry the rice in a short amount of time. If you go over a certain limit, the rice and other ingredients will burn. It's a rule for Chinese fried rice to be fried right before it is served.
就是我们就看起来就是我们中国人吃饭啊，就是有炒的饭，和日餐和日本和韩国餐呢就是不一样，是在什么地方？我们就是日本他们是就是有实习就是卷的饭，那么韩国人呢，他们做饭的时候就是加着捏米一起做， 我们中国人要不是加糯米做的话，炒饭的时候就是清一个大球，所以它这个不好吃。所以我们要到炒这个饭的时候啊，就是不要叫这个糯米，就是我们是不加糯米，所以就是饭就是比较硬一点，炒的话比较好炒一点。所以是我们中国饭和那个日本饭就是这个地方是不同。
To make a Japanese meal, cooking the rice is most important. Rice used for sushi requires a slightly different cooking technique than making ordinary rice. First, in order for the rice to cook well, the rice is rinsed and then soaked in water for about an hour or hour and a half. After soaking, the water is drained with a net.
이렇게 밭에 놓는 거죠?
This is how the sticky rice needed for making sushi is made. The most important step is to pour clean water with wine or fish broth in the rice. Let's prepare some fresh fish and make the king of sushi, nikirijishi. First, slice the fish into reasonable sizes along the grain of the fish meat. Then, quickly make the cooled rice into a ball of eatable sizes. What's important in this step is to make sure you don't knead the rice more than 5 times. If you do, the rice will get hard from the heat of your hands, and that would make the rice spoil. An experienced sushi cook takes about 150 grains of rice at once and makes a rice ball by handling it only 2 or 3 times. Then you should spread wasabi on the rice and lay the prepared raw fish on top. Finally, nikirijishi is ready. Let's make another Japanese dish using rice, maki. Maki means to surround, and it is a type of sushi that is made by spreading rice on top of seaweed and putting fish or vegetables inside, then rolling it up. Another dish called jumokpap, meaning fist rice, is made by clenching the hands like a fist. Rice balls can be found in Korea and China too, but Japanese rice balls are unique because a special ingredient is put in the middle and shaped so that it is not shown from the outside. With its clean taste and simple shape, the representative rice dishes of Japan emphasize a lot in their looks. The saying, "What looks good tastes good," seems to suit Japan's culture of rice dishes very well. Since it does not have a special technique of cooking or seasoning, Japanese rice dishes emphasize their outer appearance. As such, Japanese rice dishes are creating a unique culture by combining both farming and fishing.
초밥에 대해서 그 유래는 정확하게는 어떤 문헌이나 이 자료는 없습니다만 일본에서 가지고 있는 어떤 자료에는 그 동남아시아에서 중국으로, 중국에서 일본으로 전해졌다고 그렇게 지금 문헌에 나와 있습니다. 그 중국의 한 말부터 후한까지 이 어떤 그 생선의 저장법에 의해서 이 저장하던 생선을 밥과 함께 먹었던 그게 처음 시초가 되어 가지고 그 일본으로 전해졌다가 일본에서 초밥을 완벽하게 이 지금처럼 그 형성이 된 거는 아마 에도 시대 때부터 시작이 돼서 에도코 스시라든가 오사카 스시라든가 오사카는 하코 스시를 말씀드린 겁니다. 그렇게 해서 이 초밥의 어떤 일본에서 양대 초밥이 이 형성이 돼서 지금까지 발전해 왔다고 그렇게 생각하고 있습니다.
Korean rice is unique for creating new tastes by mixing with other various tastes. Such a representative rice dish is bibimbap. Korean bibimbap is made by adding more than 20 different seasonal vegetables to rice. Eggs or meat are also added for protein. Most Korean people were in agriculture in the past. With busy farming, most didn't even have enough time to eat their meals. This made the need for a type of food culture that could be eaten quickly, which also provided enough nutrients. Thus, the bibimbap culture came about. The bibimbap culture of Korea is famous around the world for emphasizing the harmony of different tastes rather than the taste of individual ingredients. When the rice becomes the host and the vegetables become the guest and mixed with hot red pepper paste, bibimbap, with its rich taste and spirit of the common people, is created.
뭐 비빔밥 같은 거는 역시 대표적으로 이야기할 수 있을 거예요, 우리나라. 비빔밥, 또 뭐 국밥 이런 건데, 또 비빔밥 같은 경우도 사실은 그렇습니다. 그래서 처음에는 여러 그 야채 종류라든가 비빔밥에 들어가는 그 재료를 만들어 놓고, 그러고서 이렇게 밥에 섞어서 이제 그 비빔밥을 만들어 먹던 그런 건데, 이것도 집단급식으로서 사실은 또 적합합니다. 그래서 그냥 그렇지 않으면은 많은 사람들이 동시에 먹으려고 할 때 일일이 그릇을 다 필요로 할 텐데, 그걸 큰 그릇에 이렇게 섞어가지고 비빔밥을 만들어서 여러 사람들이 모여서 같이 그냥 먹을 수 있다. 이런 의미에서는 그 집단급식 그런 배경에서 생긴 게 아닌가 이렇게 생각이 되네요.
Koreans consider it a sin to waste even one single grain of rice. That's because they know how hard it is to grow rice. Did you know that it takes a farmer to bend over 99 times just to grow rice? So the next time you enjoy a delicious bowl of rice, remember how hard they work so we can enjoy the fruits of their labor. That's all for today. See you next time.
Rice dishes of China with elaborate tastes. Rice dishes of Japan with the taste of nature. And rice dishes of Korea with the taste and spirit made by the common people. Rice is the song of life.